having them, to be able to impact us, to give us ideas, to give us insights, and to make us a better person. And so I hold this meeting to them, even though I've done other versions of the interface, but I hold this meeting to them, and I also say thank you
There's
for
space here now. I want to be seeing your faces. Lovely faces.
Being here.
I'm not going to talking to anybody.
On that note, I want to welcome all of you, and I hand over back to Blessing to continue the procedure. We don't have much time, and so we want to take as much as we can take from our very distinguished and esteemed guest. Thank you, sirs, for coming, and thank you everybody for being on this call. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mr. Sanmi Falobi, for that warm welcome. And of course, like you said, it's a pleasure to have Prof and Uncle Lekan, like we fondly call him, to be a part of the conversation this evening. So before we delve into the conversation, I will quickly do a round of read their citation, their profile, so we know that we are honored to have them indeed. And in no particular order, I'm just going to start with Professor Rotimi Oladele. He is the former managing director of the Nigerian Tribune, a man of many parts. He's a teacher, an author, a marketer, public relations practitioner, and a management/entrepreneurship consultant of repute, locally and internationally. He has spent about 30 years as a senior resource person in postgraduate schools of leading Nigerian universities. He's a professor of entrepreneurship, leadership, and corporate governance, and he is the MDC of Megavons West Africa Limited, Lagos, West Africa's first-class security printing company. His academic and intellectual endeavors straddle scholarly feats that cross-cut several institutions, including Lagos State University, University of Nigeria Nsukka, Babcock University, and Leeds Metro University in the United Kingdom, among others. He is fellow of several professional associations and institutions, including the Nigerian Institute of Public Relations, the Institute of Directors, Institute of Entrepreneurs, Certified Institute of Marketing Communications, Nigerian Institute of Management, and National Institute of Marketing of Nigeria. Besides, he is a member of several global bodies, such as Chartered Institute of Marketing, London, Chartered Institute of Public Relations, London, Nigerian British Chamber of Commerce, Chartered Institute of Arbitrators, UK, among others. He is a distinguished management expert and development consultant, and has served as former president NIPR and executive secretary, Institute of Entrepreneurs, among a host of other leadership and management positions. So you can see that indeed we're honored to have him in this meeting. It's a pleasure to have you join us, sir. Good evening and welcome, sir.
Thank you very much. I appreciate all of you.
Yeah, with this your title, if you need a PA, you can hire me, sir.
You people love money. You love money than us.
I didn't say anything about money, sir. I could even be your PA.
You will charge so high. I can see you are expensive. So
thank you and welcome, sir. Now, to welcome Mr. Lekan Otufodunrin. He is a media career development specialist and is the executive director of Media Career Development Network, Nigeria's foremost media career mentoring and coaching organization. He is a former managing editor online and special publications of the Nation newspapers. Mr. Otufodunrin has over 35 years of meritorious experience in the profession, which earned him commendations for outstanding performances. He was the former Sunday editor of the Nation, and he has worked for various media organizations, including the Punch newspaper, where he was group news editor, city editor, and group political editor. A passionate media trailer and counselor, an emphasis on passionate. He has organized and facilitated various impactful media training programs for all categories of journalists in Nigeria and in Africa, which has enhanced the career of participants. Through the Media Career Development Network, which he founded, he has provided regular media career mentoring, coaching, and networking opportunities for journalists to maximize the potential of the profession, some of whom have risen from being reporters to editors. Mr. Otufodunrin is a fellow of some international media fellowships, including Thompson Foundation, Cardiff, Poynter Institute, Poynter Institute, the School of Journalists, Florida, Bloomberg Africa Leadership Initiative, and Solutions Journalism Africa Fellowship. He's also a journalism and mass communication tutor and an Alfred Friendly Fellow. He's the president of the Journalists for Christ International Outreach, Nigeria. He is the secretary of the African region of the World Association for Christian Communication and a member of the board of trustee of Media Associates International, among others. And of course, he's on the board of so many organizations that he supports. It's a pleasure to have you here with us, Mr. Lekan Otufodunrin.
Thank you. God bless you.
If not that I'd asked to be Prof's PA, I would have volunteered to be your PA as well.
You are very expensive, like Prof said, so don't let us go there.
That's not true. We can fact check that, considering that there's even a fact check thing. So thank you so much for joining us. So now we're just going to have a discussion basically about the timeless lessons from African proverbs. And I would like to have your opening statement between 5 to 7 minutes. Let me start with Prof, and then I'll come to Mr. Otufodunrin.
Let me quickly thank the author for doing beyond authorship by extending network through to senior colleagues, members of the stakeholders, all the platforms he belongs to. That makes him to use this first edition as a good key to open the next door, which should be volume 2 or second edition, which will embrace larger lessons than this, and possibly working through towards international copy, which may be in French or any other chosen language. Because African proverbs are more precious than any other proverbs. The only proverb ranking with the African proverb is Chinese proverbs. They are also very strong. So this is a great nation branding effort, which I cherish and I choose to support. Today of all days, as you have been told, is very, very inconvenient for me. In the next 1 hour, I should be in an international summit online in Canada where I'm supposed to sign a document being awaited. I just ran down here to my office for this meeting from another meeting from Lagos State University. So it is not easy, but this good job was being supported. So that is why I'm here.
Thank you so much, sir, for the commitment and for being here as well. We sincerely appreciate you. And like you said, you're here and there. We can discuss the other conversation later, but then well done. And thank you so much for being here. And yes, I believe this is a charge to the author by saying that it can expand beyond these lessons, of course, because African proverbs are quite rich. Coming to Uncle Lekan Otufodunrin, just your open statement generally about the timeless lessons from African proverbs before I go to the specific questions that I have.
Okay, so good afternoon, everyone. I would like to start by thanking the organizer for making this possible, and also thank the Prof for agreeing to be on this program. So like Blessing said, Prof is somebody who needs to be studied himself. If you know his life story, somebody needs to be studied. The first time I knew Prof, he was in a college of education in the 80s or maybe before 80s. And so today, if he's a Prof, you know that he has come a long way. So it's somebody that needs to be, I will encourage people who are on this call to Google his name and see how, in terms of resilience. So once again, Prof, thank you for being part of this. I think one thing that Prof has also said, which is very, very important, is that it's not just enough to publish a book. It's important to use opportunities like this to spread knowledge about the book, to get more people to engage with the book, so that people can get lessons. Because many of us publish and after the launching, we just forget about it. It doesn't serve any purpose. But more importantly, we are talking about African proverb. We are talking of proverb that have deep lessons. We are talking of proverb that can call us to order, that can remind us of things that are very important, that can guide us even now, even though they are old, but they are so relevant for everything that is life. So I think it's important that we are doing this. And I'm sure that by the time we provide some answer to some of the questions, we're able to point out to some of the things that we have read ourselves. And after this, I'm hoping that more people will pick up the book and read. And like Prof also said again, we extend the boundaries of this book beyond Nigeria so they can really be African, because there's a lot of lessons for all of us. So once again, it's my pleasure to be here. Good afternoon.
Thank you so much, Uncle Lekan, for sharing that, for the insight, and thank you also for giving us a sneak peek into Prof. So now, the specific questions I have, again, we'll go to Prof, would be that from the book, Timeless Lessons from African Proverbs, which do you consider as your favorite proverb and why? Prof first.
I will be so greedy to tell you that all of them are very, very high offerings and benefits for me. So I can say they are all my favorites. But I'm pinned down to choose at least two for now. So the first one that occurs to me is, do not call the forest that shelters you jungle. Do not call the forest that shelters you jungle. And then the second one is, a man who does not learn to dance will blame the drum. If you look at those two proverbs, they are very deep, lesson-wise. They are like correctional first aid for growing up male and female. Because when you are in need, and when you are wretched, when you are poor, when you are hungry, it is easy to list names of people you can go to who you think will help you. But when you are well fed, when you are robust, lively, possibly even drunk, you say, who is making noise there? Is it not Lekan Rotimi that are making noise there? Let's tell them to keep shout. When we didn't have money, yes, we were going to them, and so, but now we are better. We are even richer than them, so they should let us talk. What am I saying in essence? That when you are built up, when you are grown up, when you have achieved, don't forget all those who took care of your mess when you are young, as a baby, as an infant. And it is common in our society today that, with due apology to the youths, this is a big lacuna. Why, when our human capital development is taken to reckoning and analysis, we will find that no respect for elders, people are so much in a hurry, no sense of appreciation, nobody is grateful for yesterday offer and support. And of course, we are building what I regard as army of corporate arrogance. And this army of corporate arrogance will rule the commercial world as managing directors, general manager, chief accountant, and so on and so forth. And it doesn't help the nation, because they don't have what it takes in terms of integrity and reputation to lead others. So the second one, a man who has not learned to dance blames the drum. This is people who live in excuse towers. They have excuse for anything you bring forward to them. They are not productive. They are not causative. They are not ready to create opportunity for others. They are mentally lazy, pathologically lazy, socially lazy, and even in group terms, lazy. They don't have anything to offer. All they do is to fight for their own shares, and very, very much the first group that will agitate for what belongs to me, what belongs to me, what belongs to me, looking for whatever they can get without caring how the bread is baked. They don't have anything to offer. So those are the two I want to start with. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir. Thanks so much for the way you really detailed it and broke it down. And I believe anyone who has not even read the book or who does not even know the proverb before can relate to this. Thank you so much. Uncle Lekan, I suppose that your favorite proverbs would be different from the one Prof has shared. And so which of the proverbs do you consider to be your favorite and why?
Well, again, so we are just trying to be selective because we don't want to say everything because every one of them have one lessons or the other. But for me, and perhaps because of the work I do, my first one is if you want to know the road ahead, ask those coming back. That's the first one. If you want to know the road ahead, ask those coming back. And the second one is knowledge is like a garden. If it's not cultivated, it cannot be harvested. As these two the two proverbs resonate with me because of the job I do now as a media career development person. I see that it's important for people. Many people want to learn, and like the first one says, if you want to know the road ahead, so somebody who has traveled the way you want to travel, somebody who has done what you want to do, somebody who has gone through the school you have gone to, for whatever it is worth, he has some knowledge that he can share. He has some experience. He has some understanding, and we are talking about how if you don't ask, you probably make the same mistake. I always tell people that one of the reasons why I do the things I do is because I want people to learn from my own experience. And that's why I'm happy to see that some of the things that took some of us years, for this generation, they're able to do it faster. But more importantly, you must be humble to want to ask and not assume that you know better. Again, we have a situation where some younger people think they know so much better. And that's why sometimes when we are discussing some issues, like, if I may digress, one of the things that caused some disagreement among the young people and the old people during the NSAS was when sometimes the young people make it look as if the old people did not do anything. The truth is that we are in this country where many people have fought battles. If you were at the launch of this book, Lekan Otufodunrin was talking about how Professor Oladele and some other people championed student unionism far back. And so what I'm saying is that there's a lot to learn from people who have gone the same road before you. And when you learn from them, you don't need to reinvent the wheel. You don't have to make the same mistake they have made. And it's very, very important so that you can maximize your own opportunity and get this done better and benefit from their own experience, which they are willing to share. And that is why, for example, someone like me, I try to share on every social media. I share my experience. I share my story as honestly as possible, which is very, very important. I remember I wrote a book about when I was 50, and I gave it to a young man to read. And I said, what do you like about that? He said he liked that I wrote that I repeated from 5. I said, why? He said, because for him, if I repeated from 5 and I could get to where I am now, that means there's a lesson in being able to overcome the challenges that you want. So the lessons will not be apparent, but just something that somebody learns. So I'll take that one. The second one is knowledge is like a garden. If it's not cultivated, it cannot be harvested. Again, that is very, very true because knowledge comes in various things. It's available. Some people are knowledgeable, but if you don't cultivate it, some people have potentials. If you don't cultivate it, some people have some skills. If you don't grow it, you cannot harvest from it. There are many people who can even be better at what they are doing now, but they are not consciously growing it. So what he's trying to say is that knowledge is very, very important and you must cultivate it. You must build on it. You must add to it Just like you are even asking for people who have done something before. How did you do it? So what can we learn? And that's why it's important. So the lesson for this is that you must consciously cultivate. If you don't consciously cultivate it, it will be overgrown with weeds. And so that knowledge that you think you have will not be useful to you or anybody around you. So I think those tools are very important for me. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Lekan, detailed explanation about this. And one key thing to understand is that these proverbs are not just for the fun of it. There are ways you can actually apply them to our daily work and our operations. And one proverb I would like to mention is, and of course, there's a reason to it, which I will also mention. The tortoise does not hurry, yet it reaches its destination. I know that oftentimes we talk about there are even a lot of things about tortoise that we said, but tortoise is not here to defend to defend himself. But here, at least I've seen a live tortoise before, and I can see that they actually really walk slowly. And by the time before you know it, they've gotten to where they are. And the Proverbs talks or focuses on the need to be really patient and be consistent in doing something. You might feel like others are doing it fast, others are getting to their destination. So far you do not stop. So far you do not feel like I beg go, I'm not on the same pace with others. Let me just stay behind. It means that with consistent efforts, you definitely get to your destination. So now that's a way of saying that I also learned something in this proverb. So now back to Prof to talk about to ask another question from Prof. It would be that there are numerous proverbs. You've identified two which you consider as your favorite. What do you think is the significance or relevance of this proverb? Either the one you shared or some other ones that you've seen to our life as individuals, to our career, to our work generally. What would be the significance?
Well, number one, let me tell you the aspect of me that many people don't know. I'm a storyteller, but I tell my stories to children and youths. If you look at my publications, essentially like Trumpet of Trouble, you have a lot to commend this author for what this author we are celebrating today has done. If you take my first visit to the village, you will see the same. Timely rescue, the same thing. Rascals at the shrine, the same thing. What I'm trying to say is that African proverbs are not just mere sayings. They are soap, detergent with which you can wash your character, you can wash your weakness, you can cultivate friendship, you can set up platform for business, and so many other things. So it is a multimedia. That is why I want my colleagues in the journalism field to know that everything you can talk to about communication today, they were existing in their cruel form, in the ordinary form that were not electronized. The fact that they were not on electronics, they are not kept, that doesn't mean them invalid. Take, for example, this proverb that says, the child who does not listen or learns from his parents will be taught by the world, which means learning the hard way. That is not advisable for a child to learn in the hard way. Because when the world, which means the entire city, is training you, some number of them will have no pity. Some of them will not be patient. Some of them will not be supportive. Some will be very harsh. Some will even mislead you intentionally. So you can grow a nation, which will be a nation of intentional damages and ignorant damages, or at worst, teleguided damages, being sent messages by other people. Because they refuse to learn from their parents, they will now be forced to learn from strangers and wicked masters. The second one is that the moon does not fight the cloud. It's just shining. So which means the moon is just doing its job, what God created it for. So it's not fighting, it's not quarreling. So òṣùpá kò bá ọ̀run láwọ̀, kò bá sánmọ̀ ní àwọ̀, iṣẹ́ tiẹ̀ ló ń ṣe. Òṣùpá ò bá sánmọ̀ ní àwọ̀. The moon does not have any discord with the sky. It's just shining, making us to see in the night. So which means if anybody is grooming you or mentoring you and is giving you some hard nut to crack, he doesn't hate you. He's not fighting you. He's just trying to direct you to the right path. So, and this is a necessity for a marital life. The husband or the wife talking to the spouse in the correctional manner does not fight. It's not a matter of a fight. I think we need to listen out, to hear them out, to adjust, and also agree with them, and even appreciate them after we have taken correction. Thank you.
Thank you so much. And I love the way you're able to really pin it into different sectors of our life, or different components and different areas of our life. I appear so you appeal to us in friendship, in work, mentorship, and even in marriage. That's really, really useful. So now coming to you, Uncle Lekan. Yes, the same question basically. So of this favorite proverb of yours, what do you think is the significance to life and living?
Well, again, I think like we've been reiterating in this session, and like we know, these proverbs, like Prof said, they're not just saying, they are product of deep thinking. They are product of deep reflection by our forefathers before they said it. And that is why their meaning is there for all time. Even though it's something that is happened years ago, they are still they are product of deep thinking. And they're not whimsical, they're not just whimsical saying, there are things that was said, and that is coming true even years after. And before I go on, I would like to just refer to Prof for talking about the moon, and we're talking about life application. I remember there's something I heard somewhere, and I hope I'm sure it's true. They say, so talking about how moon is not fighting. So they say that scientifically, the moon does not have light of its own, but it is positioned it's the reflection of the sun that what we call moonlight. So it's not even struggling, it's just at a position. What it means is that how you place yourself in life is also very, very important. And even wherever you are, you can see shine. So I think that is what we talk about, applying all these things to life lessons. And what I'm saying is that, for example, I'm looking at two more proverbs here. Talking about leadership is like a relay race. It's a relay race. It's really a relay race. The battle must be passed on. So we're talking about mentorship. How does that apply to our life? These days, if you don't grow people, if you don't mentor people, at some point you'll be overwhelmed. There are things I used to do. These days, I see stories all over the place. I wish I could write them, but I can't write them. And if I try, I'll just harm myself. So it's important to raise people. So if you're a leader, like this proverb is saying, it's like we did it, know that you must find people that you can hand over to so that they can continue. And the beauty of being able to hand over to people is that you'll be able to look back and say, yes, we started this and it's still going. And that's why it's very important for even this leadership thing. The other one talks about if you did not plant corn when you should have it planted, you cannot harvest corn when it's been harvested. How does that apply to our lives? Many of us are dreaming of many things. This morning I was reflecting about some opportunities that I used to have. They are no longer there. And I was saying to myself, if you don't maximize opportunities when they come, opportunities are not forever. So that's how some of these things are little. Again, these proverbs are deep product of deep thinking, and people should reflect on them. You should take time to reflect on them. The same way we read our religious book, the Bible, the Quran, we should reflect on them. And when we reflect on them, they will help us. They will guide us. And for everything we want to take, we can be sure that if we reflect on them a lot, it will help us a lot. So That's how they relate to it. We should look at them and see how they apply to our life and take the lesson from them, even when nobody is asking us to learn from them. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir. Let's take lesson from them, even when nobody is doing that. Thank you. Or told us to take lessons from them. And one other proverbs I also want to make reference to here before I go to the next question would be, the frog does not jump in the daytime without a plan. It's not as if I just like animals like that, because the first one I mentioned was about tortoise. But for frog, I know, especially when it rains and you live in swamp area, you see frogs jumping, and in some instances, people are either, hey, let me shift to the other side. But then he's saying, this proverb is saying that success requires planning. So before acting as individuals, it is very, very important for us to really think and strategize. So what exactly is the plan? Why am I doing this? Why should I do this? So this falls under lessons on resilience and strength. If you want to achieve something, you need to craft out a plan and execute it and follow it diligently so that you can achieve success. So he who plans to fail, he who fails to plan, plans to fail, like they always say. Now going to the next question. There is personal productivity is key in terms of career, professional vocational endeavors and aspirations. And yes, I remember, Prof, I think when you were responding to the first question, you talk about the importance of mentorship as part of the lessons in this African proverbs. What are some of those proverbs that you think are applicable to help us achieve personal productivity in our daily lives as individuals, as participants on this forum? Sure.
Well, in most cases, the generation we belong to was generation of mentorship all through. That's why you see a blacksmith, the son will come up after school, go to the blacksmith workshop and help his father. You see bicycle repairer doing the same thing. You see a carpenter doing the same thing. Saturday, the children are there. Barber, the same thing. And there's to support the beautiful proverb of my colleague and my brother, Lekan. There is one proverb that I cherish when it comes to what the right time and the right thing to do. You know, he talked about doing right thing at the right time. The other one is emulating those leaders who have done something successfully. Like a proverb that says, "Inú gbígbóná, ẹ̀yìn tútù, kì í jẹ́ kọ́mọdé kó ní àgbàdo èkuru." This is a bit deep for non-Yoruba, but I will take it softly. That is, when you are farming during the rain, your back is wet, your tummy is hot because rain is not beating you at the tummy, but it's beating you at the back. So children will not like to farm at that time. Only parents will find themselves doing it because they knew that without doing it, they will not have a proceed to take to the market and to feed the family. But for the younger ones, no, they wouldn't want to. So there's a need here for motivation, not just mentoring, motivation for them to buy into the mentoring. So, and this motivation comes through advice, through some gifts, through some pet names, through some stories that make them laugh and see no agony in what they are doing. So all these were our own traditional educational system, which proverbs are always carrying as messages to remind us or to introduce to us or to strengthen and make continuity possible as far as adherence to proverbs are concerned. So thank you.
Thank you so much, Prof. And that's really useful. And of course, thanks for that in-depth way that you have shared with us this evening. That's quite useful. So I would like to do something. Before going to Onkulekon next, I know that Prof needs to go to Canada now, and thanks for technology. While he needs to attend the conference, and we need to release him in 12 minutes. That's by 5:30. So I would like to check if anyone has any question for Prof based on the things he has shared. At least my own reaction to what Prof said was there were during their era, like you said, there was a lot of emphasis on mentorship and people really following the trade of their parents or what their father did, learning and all of those things. But yes, we still have some form of mentorship these days, but maybe not specifically about what our parents are doing. Maybe we'd rather do something else. We'd rather seek mentorship elsewhere or outside. But of course, the most important thing is also to be mentees to some people. Some people really raising us and helping us to be what we want to be. Sir, do you think that this is my question before I allow others to, my personal question actually, before I allow others to ask their question would be, do you think there's a difference between how mentorship is being done in your era and now in our era as our moderator Jolota?
Well, you see, there is a vehicle they call hybrid. I happen to have used a Lexus that's hybrid. When it gets to where there is traffic, it will now switch off fuel consumption, and use only air. And when you move again, it will start consuming. That is exactly how mentorship is. Mentorship hasn't changed. The strategies have changed. The content may be the same, but they need to be branded and repackaged. So what we are saying is that in our own era, yes, we started with our parents' occupation because of what we call something that is that next available free of charge without any ASU. Proximity drives it, so you don't have to run away. But when it was coming, transition comes and our uncles and sisters were taking us away from the farm and from the village to learn other artisanship. So, but today, there is a vehicle that is driving everybody to where it's going. When banking are married to information technology in the 70s and 80s, we were all strange to it. Even bankers, they were recruiting wrongly because they will recruit accountants separately and then recruit ICT people separately. But when later on they knew that ICT was just a tool in the hand of bankers, they now changed position. My first job as a sales rep for a publishing company was to drive myself and my driver to drive me. But when the company got wiser, they now say, okay, now this is your driver's allowance. We are no longer paying for the driver. We give you driving allowance. If you like, pay it to the driver. So this style and system changed. Today, the style and system have changed. So if you are running any business and you are not driving it through and with information technology, then you are not going to see tomorrow. And sustainability, which is a goal for business today, can only make us see tomorrow if we follow the pathway of technology. Now, in the next few minutes, I'll be talking to people I've not met before and people I've met before, and we are all coming from all parts of the world. So that is exactly the programs themselves, they have to change. I will just end this by a very funny proverb that Kila nkowole lórí ẹṣin tóyìnbó ṣe tí ò lè jẹko. Why are we spending so much on a horse that is fabricated by the white man, and the horse cannot eat green grass? And you know, that proverb came when bicycle came to Nigeria. The two bicycles that came to Nigeria were Rally and Roji bicycles. And then Rally has gear, so it can climb mountain faster than Roji. So now when they want to advertise or convince you or make a proverb, say, what are we putting heavy money on? In a horse that a white man manufactures and cannot eat grass. So they believe that any horse that cannot eat grass cannot perform his duty. But the white people prove them wrong by bringing bicycle which will not eat green grass and can go anywhere you want to go in the villages as teachers, tax collectors, and so on and so forth. So proverbs are very, very rich menu to enjoy any kind of food, just like our Easterner brothers and sisters will tell you that our proverb is palm oil to eat yam, which is a word and lesson. So it's an interesting exposure. Thank you for giving me the opportunity.
Thank you so much, Professor Rotimi Oladele. And of course, that proverb is actually very funny, like you said it. And it became so funny when you added the explanation to it. Of course, it's really great to learn from you, from your wealth of experience and knowledge. Thanks so much for sharing. Do we have any question? Does anybody have any question for Prof? The conversation is still ongoing. I will still continue.
Akinlabi Azan's up is up.
Sir?
Akinlabi Azan hand is up.
Oh, thank you so much. Okay, Mr. Akinlabi Hazan, please unmute yourself.
Good evening, everyone. Good evening. Thank you, moderator, for the work you're doing. And thanks to our guest speakers who are really doing great justice to the topics and the proverbs there in the book. So basically, I just want to start my question on the premise that these proverbs are being gradually lost somehow, if not for the sake of people that like Sanmi that are trying to put them into written form. And it's not just happening to our proverbs, it's happening to other parts of our culture in the sense of modernization, westernization, and all of those things that we have. And truth be told, this the last or the latest generations don't care, so to say. Whether I'm not of the latest generation, I'm of the 80s generation. But I believe that we still had, we also always time ourselves as the lucky ones because we still had so much privilege and opportunity to get closer to our parents, learn a lot of things from them in terms of our cultures, our languages, and all. So what I'm trying to say is, what I'm trying to ask is, in all of these organized crises that westernization is bringing to our local or indigenous culture and languages, what are some of the steps that are important? Just like the way some authors are already putting this culture forms in written form, what are the other steps that could be taken so that the younger generation can begin to accept or take our cultures more seriously?
Thank you so much, Mr. Akinlabi Hazan. We also have another hand raised, but I think Prof can take the question, then I'll go to Mr. Ademola Akinlabi.
All right. First of all, we thank those authors who are putting things in written form. But beyond that, we can do a lot of creativity that we perpetuate the dignity and value of Proverbs of Africa. We can act them out in clips. A 10, 15 minutes play video of a very rich proverb with analysis and demonstration. For example, you pick anyone like the bicycle case I mentioned, and then people are now doing bicycle race where they will tumble, do this, do that, and then you sing, then you bring a horse to do the same thing. Create something that will interest people, that make them laugh and think deeper. So it can be a further step to popularize these things and also to deepen our thinking. The person who manufactured aeroplane started from somewhere. The person who manufactured the motor vehicle started from somewhere. From the proverbs, we can be challenged. Our history can be challenged, our culture can be challenged, our sports can be challenged. So we can bring back many things when we act them out, when we sing about them, like in the 60s and 70s. Songs were actually branding materials, branding input. It's no longer the kind of songs today. Look at Sunny Ade's lyrics and that of Ebenezer Obey. If you take the two musicians, you can write 100 books on each of them. From the Proverbs, they put in the marketplace. Some people do not even speak the language. They know the proverb. They ask for the meaning. So, somebody will sing, will dance, will tell you the stories, and they will relate it to daily lifestyle. So we can do more writing, we can do acting, we can do electronic production, we can as well do graphics presentation. Now, graphic has been taken over by information technology, so it's easier and cheaper. So we can use it as branding information on our clothing, on our roofs, on our information boards all over the city. So many cities in Europe are doing what they call city branding now. Great Manchester is an example. So in the Turkey people said we are not there, but we are getting by. So we all these can be demonstrated with all we have. So that is my answer to that question.
Thank you so much for your response, and of course, a very detailed one. Now, go to the next question from Mr. Ademola Akilabi.
Hello. Hello.
Yes,
Yeah, thank you so much. I want to talk on the motivational aspect. When we were young, our parents, like my father, was trying to motivate me to be in the trading, but I didn't like it. You understand? As time goes on, yeah.
To be
Hello?
what?
I'm not off. I said,
No,
what?
To be something. Just to be sure we get the question clearly.
Okay. Can I go on?
Yes, please go on. Go on.
I said, I'm talking on the motivational aspect. When we were young, our parents were trying to motivate us. Like my father was trying to motivate me to go into trading. I didn't like it. He enrolled me in school, quite right, like all other children. But he wanted at least 2 or 3 among us to follow his step on the trading. While we were doing it, we deviated. And I understand it's rampant nowadays. How do we react to that, or how do we correct that one? That is one. Secondly, is it possible to translate photography into proverb, or translate proverb into photography? I'm done.
Thank you, sir. I want to go back to Professor Rotimi to respond.
Let me start from the last aspect. We can transfer the utilitarian value of proverb. We can transfer it from graphics to technology, and from technology to to graphics, which means if you put a horse a bicycle in front, you can write under it, má ṣe fi kẹ̀kẹ́ síwájú ẹṣin. Don't allow bicycle to lead the horse. It's an error. You are warning people not to take wrong steps. That's what you are saying. So it is easy to transform. It's a matter of the mastery of language. How well do we master the language? If we are not too good, we can hire. And that is another job creation. If you hire me to translate Proverbs into graphics, I will make money. If you ask me to translate graphics into Proverbs, I will make money. And I did a similar thing before, but on a religious basis then. I chose 32 verses in the Bible, and I converted them to graphics for decoration in the homes. As a student in 200 level, I ended up paying my school fees with my graphics. Take, for example, one that says, God opens his hands and satisfies all beings. I drew a big table, family members sitting down, eating what they like, the dog eating bone, the ants eating crops, butterfly on the flowers all around, and the big hand that was showering food to everybody down. So that was proverb that I converted into graphics. So it's doable. And then for the motivational aspect, the motivation must locate what is in it for the person we want to motivate. If the mentee does not agree that you are adding value to him, there's no way you can achieve it. The first thing to do is to sell the value to the mentee, to let him or her understand the benefit in the future, the benefit now, and how she can also prosper with it. If that lesson is well taken, then he or she will be the one demanding even for that mentoring and that support. So that was the reason why, in our own case, when we could not get anything doing after school, we started competing with planting tomato and maize as craft. Nobody even asked us to do it. We just volunteered to, because there was this tomato cooperative society that is buying. So once you can do a basket, for example, and that was a practical motivation. When you show people how to make money, and they will jump at it. So there are so many things to do to motivate people that way. Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir. We really appreciate you for your responses to this question.
Thank you.
I don't know if any other person has any question, or I should allow Prof to share his final so that we can continue with the conversation.
We are in safe hands. My brother will do his best. Yes.
All right.
Thank you.
Can you share your final thoughts before we allow you to go, sir?
Well, the final thought is that everybody should push up African Proverbs. We should possibly ask our brother, the author, to coordinate platform that's wider than this. Let's talk about Proverbs Forum or African Proverbs platform. Let's have it today, so that from here we can now fire on to expand this great job. So African Proverbs Forum.
African Proverbs Forum. Thank you so much, Professor Rotimi Oladele. It's been a pleasure having you here. And thank you so much for sharing from your wealth of experience with us. We're so honored to have you. Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you. Thank you, everybody. I appreciate all of you.
Thank you, sir.
And we wish you the best as you continue your conversation, as you go to Canada virtually. Thank you, sir. Okay, now I'm back to Mr. Lekan Otufodunrin. Thank you so much for staying tuned, Mr. Lekan. The question I had for you, just a second, sir. Yes, okay, so it's in regards to personal productivity for individuals in terms of career, profession, and maybe vocation. So what are some of the proverbs that you found relevant to this that can help us to advance our personal productivity that you think it would be useful for us to apply?
Well, I'm trying to, sorry, can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
I'm trying to find what that if we dig deep into some of these proverbs, I will find. I'm just trying to remember some. Maybe some other people in the crowd can help us. But suffice to say, I want to add to the earlier question about what can we do. So, like Prof said, we can use new media to popularize all these proverbs, and it's already happening. I have seen websites that are dedicated to proverbs. I've seen people who are doing podcasts trying to explain some of these things, because if you want the young people to buy into what we are talking about, you need to use what they are using. At a point in time, I took it up to share on Twitter, X. I'll put a Yoruba proverb, translate it, and say what it means, just like Sanmi has done. So that is what we need to do to ensure that we don't lose all these things, and modern technology can help us. I hear radio stations, when they start news bulletin, they mention one proverb and they end with another one. Those are things that are being done. But what is important is that people must be interested. We should not assume that people know what we are talking about. We should do our best to find opportunities like this to explain. And even maybe while in school, students are learning, young people are in school, they are going to secondary, people are taking languages. It's not only about people who are studying Yoruba or languages. There should be opportunities even for people who are studying English. You will find a way to find programs where we can discuss some of these things so that people can appreciate the value and see how they can reflect it. You know, for example, I mean, you're talking about there's a Yoruba proverb that says, "Alagbara ma melu baba ole." You know, that thing that it's also about just knowing what you are capable of doing. You know, don't assume that you have everything. So, wisdom is different from strength. So there are so many things that we can learn from those proverbs, but it will take you're going to search for them. So, I mean, I will encourage people, take a book like this, read it, understand it, meditate on it. I always tell people it's not only a Bible that we can meditate on. We can meditate on the things that we are reading and think of what action to take. And that's when it will profit us in our work. It will guide our productivity. Like we said earlier, that proverb I was talking about maximizing opportunity. If you don't maximize it now, opportunities are not forever. People, so it's important that we reflect on some of these things that we hear. And when we reflect on it and we take action, it will help us in our work. It will help our productivity. It will help our growth. It will make us to know that, yes, there is a journey ahead of us. And like we're talking about a journey. If you want to learn and somebody knows it already, try to learn from that person. Don't try to create your own empire. We are in a time when sometimes people want to create, they say there's nothing new under the sun. And that's a lot. There's a lot of modification going on. That's what's happening. And so, if you want to be productive, learn from people who have done it. Even find a way to recreate something from the past. Recently, I see there's a website. It's an archive website. They are taking old publications, old newspaper publications, and making them new in a way, bringing some of the things that happened in the past. So there's a lot of lessons to learn from the past. And if we apply it, I think all these things we are talking about will make sense. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir. That's quite useful. And thanks a lot for sharing. Okay, so that'll be the last question from me to you. I don't know if anyone has any question for Uncle Lekan. We can take the questions as well. But while we do that, I will just quickly go through a few of the proverbs. While just basically explain them to whet your appetite. If you do not have the copy of the book yet, it will really be important for you to get copies for yourself. You can get the soft copy. You can also get the hard copy. They are all available. And I'll also share the information on how you can get them online. I'll share them in the chat box. So one proverb that I would like to share, which is on lessons on leadership and responsibility, is the strength of the crocodile is in the water. The strength of the crocodile is in the water. I've talked about Tortoise, frog, and now crocodile. So it means that leaders must understand and know how to utilize the skills and resources within their environment. What do you have within your capacity? What's around you? How exactly are you utilizing the resources? Do you see the resources and ignore them and think that they're not valuable enough? And the explanation says, just as crocodile thrives in water, a leader's strength comes from understanding the context and environment in which they operate. Knowing when and where to lead is crucial. And this proverb teaches leaders to be adaptable and to leverage their surroundings, whether in leadership roles or in life. I believe that we take on different positions at different points in time. So it is important for us to ensure that we take best use of every resources that we find around us. And the next one before I come again to take the question will be, a bird does not fly in a straight line if it is alone. If a bird is alone, it does not fly in a straight line, meaning that leadership requires coordination and mutual support. Once there is a leader is not isolated from their community or team. That's why you're a leader and you have followers with you. So you should be able to work with others to move forward, as no one can achieve success alone. Whatever it is that you want to do, there are others who would support you through the journey, through the process. And the context says the proverb stresses the importance of collaboration and teamwork in leadership, as effective leaders rely on the contribution and support of others. So as leaders, we should be able to support others, to work together with others, delegate, utilize the resources available to ensure that we're able to get to where we want to go to. So those are some of the lessons I would like to share with us. And if you remember, tortoise, frog, bird, and crocodile, those are the four animals that I've talked about today. So it means that all of those things around us are also what we can learn from. So do we have anyone who have any comments or questions that you would like to share? Comments or questions from the participants? We have a lot of people on the call, and it would be good to have people share their thoughts or their comments, maybe about a proverb that you are familiar with, a proverb you found funny, a proverb that you've learned from, at least that maybe has made one impact, or you just think that this is really useful. Any comments? Thank you so much, Mr. Sanmi Falobi, for scrolling the book so that people can also get to see it. Oh, Bamalu Fortune, thank you so much. Please go ahead.
Good evening, everyone. I first of all want to commend Mr. Sanmi Falobi for the great work you've done. This is really a nice one, because just like somebody said, a lot of us are already beginning to forget our proverbs and how to use them. Me personally, I use proverbs a lot when I'm talking. If I sit with you, we talk for 30 minutes. There's no way I won't use close to 15 proverbs when I'm discussing. Yes, my friends love sitting with me because they enjoy the way I use them all the time. I bring them in when I'm gisting with them. They love it so much and they enjoy sitting with me. So honestly, when I joined the Zoom meeting and I saw you are talking about proverbs and all that, I was really, really excited. I appreciate my special daddy, Dr. Rotimi Oladele. He's no longer, he has joined another. He's my special daddy. So I really appreciate all he has done this evening. And then our big uncle that's also helped this evening. talking about Proverbs and explaining things to us and opening our eyes to a lot of things tonight. And I wish we would be able to pass this on to our children growing up. In fact, even to speak our language for our children these days is becoming a difficult thing. So I believe that things like this will also help us to bring our children closer to our culture and our language. When you get books like this, read it to your children, explain it to them, get their attention. I believe it will also excite them and make them develop interest in speaking our languages and learning our culture. Once again, Mr. Sanmi, thank you very much for this great job you have done. I believe this will go places. So that's what I want to say this evening. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. And of course, I won't say I envy you that you share a lot of proverbs. Such a duration of time. Thanks for sharing. And you've also talked about the importance of ensuring that we're able to instill our culture and our language in our children. Thanks a lot. And Mr. Ganiyu Olowu, your hand is raised. You have the floor.
Good evening, everybody. Good evening, all. I want to commend Mr. Sanmi Falobi and everybody here. My own contribution is I want to suggest that, a proverb as a means of communication. I'm just suggesting that there might be need to establish Society for African Proverbs, or to start with Society for Nigerian Proverbs, as a way of promoting discussion, communication, and further way to entrench this as part of our culture. I quite agree with the suggestion by Prof earlier on, talking about other strategic means of putting this into communication, other creative ways of putting into communication. There's nothing stopping us from some of these kits having a 3-minute, 5-minute proverb explained in a very creative way, rather than some of these funny things that we share about on our various social media platforms. I think that's my brief contribution. Let me cap it off. There might be need to establish Society for Nigerian Proverb or for African Proverb as a way of furthering this type of discussion and entrenching proverb as part of our way of promoting our culture and achieving societal goals. I appreciate everybody. Good evening.
Thank you so much for sharing this, and we also appreciate you. Thanks a lot. Yes, I have a comment here. Okay, thank you so much, Mr. Sanmi. Mr. Sanmi has shared how we can get this online. Miriam Aminu, I think you just said that, says, great one, I hail you, Mr. Sanmi Falobi. I'm blessed with the same of says from all that has been shared from the book so far. I really can't wait to read all of it. Well done to Mr. Sanmi for putting this together. Thank you so much for thanking us. So I have a hand raised, and it says Techno C16. Techno C16, you have the floor. You can just introduce yourself so that we can know who's speaking. You can unmute and speak. Techno C16. Thank you.
Okay. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir. We can hear you, sir.
Okay, my name is Oru Leonard. Techno C16 is the brand I use, so that's why you're seeing it there. Sanmi, thank you very much. The speaker and the coordinator. I can't remember their name now. I was expecting that Fortune, who could speak in 30 minutes with 15 proverbs, would have given us a proverb. Abby? She would have given us a proverb. Hello? Can you hear me? Yes.
Oh,
she couldn't have, or he or she, I don't know.
Hello?
Hello?
I'm here. I'm here.
Yeah, you spoke for more than 5 minutes. You didn't give her no proverb, and you are a proverb person. So please give us one.
Okay, he who fetches an ant-infested firewood must expect a visit from the lizards.
So, so yes. So, my
A
own is I
stitch,
will
a
speak in
stitch
my
in time
language.
saves 9.
Good.
Okay, nice.
I will speak in my language. Thank you very much for that. I'll speak in my language, then I will interpret.
I can say a lot in my language also.
No, it's okay. You have said one. We are happy now.
At least I've said 2.
Okay, yes. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Babalo. Now, that is short road will always gush, and not always, will gush blood. Why I'm saying this is because of these days, looking at short things, I try to make it very fast and so on. So Ketuma, Kejagamai. Mai is blood. Ketuma is road. Kepuru is short. So that they use it. Another one is and I'm sure this language I'm speaking, we are very few. You know, we have 360 ethnic groups, and this is one of them. So now, no matter how bird flies, it must come down to drink water. So when you fly, you jackpot and all these things, remember that you have your place where you come and drink water. Thank you very much for organizers and the prof who spoke. And thank you for the participants. I rest my case.
Thank you so much for flexing your proverbial skills here. And that's actually really interesting. I like the way Mama says, hey, I'm here, I'm still here, and I can speak, I can share the proverbs with you. Yes, we are hosting home. Do we have any other comments before we close the session for today? Any other person? And no other chat in the chat box. Okay, thank you everyone. I believe it has been an interesting.
Sorry, can I?
Mr. Lekan Otufodunrin.
Let me, sorry, Madam Blessing, let me quickly share one proverb, my favorite proverb.
Okay, please go ahead, sir.
Okay, so I'm Yoruba, so I will say it in Yoruba too. So I just wanted to also confirm which tribe did the earlier speaker speak from. I'm trying to get that tribe. I want to know.
Okay, I'm from Cross River State.
Cross River, okay, sir.
Okuni, okay. And that is, Okuni is one of the few, if not the only towns that have a native name, that is Olulubo. Luckily,
okay,
I not maybe that local name. We have Olulubo ward, so I'm from Olulubo ward. The tribe is Olulubo. The larger tribe is Ekoi, Inikom, bordering Etu, and somehow you can get to Cameroon easily from there. Thank you very much.
All right. Thank you. I'll watch out and check it out too. Okay, so one of my favorite proverbs too in Yoruba is Eye odede ba lorule, oro leye gbo. That is, the bird did not just perch on the roof. The bird heard some words. So I think the simple interpretation of this is that some things don't just happen, or people don't just act out of instinct. Sometimes they have reasons for reacting or for acting in certain ways. I don't know, the elders in the room, let me check if I interpreted it correct, but I really love that particular proverb, and I always want to work with it. Thank you.
Thank you so much. That bird is just in a crocodile. For sharing that. Do we have any other comments? Do we have any other comments? Okay.
Adeleke Abiodun's hand is up. Adeleke Abiodun's hand is up.
Hand is up. Okay. Okay. Oh, Mr. Adeleke Abiodun, you have the floor, sir.
Good evening, Ma. Good evening, everybody. This is such an interesting discussion. Like, there are two proverbs that are very profound for me. One, my mom used to tell us then, and is funny enough, it's just making sense to me now. She will say in Yoruba that that is, they are telling the chick not to go to the waste site. And by going there, the chick might lose his life. but he's thinking that they are not allowing him or her out the chance to free range. And that simply means that there is no, any life without control will lead to chaos. And also there is one that, another one said by late MK Abiola. I was listening to, that was a very long time. They said, they don't tell a blind man that the market has closed. When he doesn't hear any other voice, he will know that the market has closed. So those two proverbs, they are very profound for me. And I really appreciate Mr. Sanmi for putting this together. So thank you.
Thank you so much, Mr. Lekan Otufodunrin. We appreciate that. Any other person? Do you have any other person would like to share? In the absence of none, and I hope I'm right this time, I would like to invite Mr. Lekan Otufodunrin for a closing remark, like his passing word. Thank you, sir.
Okay, once again, I just want to thank Mr. Falobi for putting this together, and like I said, for extending the frontiers of the book beyond just publishing. So it's nice for people. I mean, I proverb that she's been hearing makes sense to him now, and the same way that I can make sense to all of us. And I was also reflecting that just like I see young people in school do dance drama, do traditional dance, maybe we should also encourage them to learn proverbs and ask them about how it applies to them. So once again, it's a pleasure being here, and thank you all for this opportunity. God bless you. Bye for now.
Amen, and God bless you too, sir. I believe that we all agree that it has been an interesting conversation. We had a lot to learn and to share. So I want to say thank you so much, Mr. Sanmi Falobi, for putting this together. Thanks to Professor Rotimi Oladele, who featured here earlier, and to Mr. Lekan Otufodunrin, we appreciate you. And of course, to every participant who has made out time to be here. Either you're closing from work, you're on your way home, and you're participating in those interesting conversations, we sincerely appreciate you. I believe we will have more conversations like this, specifically to discuss some interesting proverbs, and of course to learn more and adverse recommendations about how to make this really great and bigger beyond this. And before we close finally, and say good night, I would like to have Mr. Sanmi Falobi to just say goodbye, and then we'll close the session.
Thank you so very much for the session. All the notes have been taken. As I mentioned earlier on, I've been a beneficiary of knowledge, of wisdom, of impact from people. And this is also a continuation of giving back from the little that I've received. And thanks to all the advices on expanding the frontiers, we do what is possible, and then to see how we extend the discourse beyond this limited audience and to other facets of life as we have grace to do. I want to thank all of you for coming on a busy day after the holiday and other things to do, but for a show of love to be here is well appreciated. Thank you. Thank you so much. The discussion will continue and other formats of the engagements we continue as the need arise. Thank you, Blessing, for moderating the program and for being in support. I want to appreciate my wife also. She's here silently listening, giving support at the home front. This is Sanmi Falobi, appreciated. Thank you all. God bless you.
So much. Have a good evening, everyone.
Bye.